Hey, so let's take our ball, coming to a tabletop position, the belly on the ball. We're going to reach the left arm up, coming back through center, and then reaching that right arm up and coming back through center. Keeping this going, moving from side to side, letting the gaze follow the hand. So looking up towards that arm and coming back through center, keeping a nice long line from the head to the tailbone. And core is nice and engaged here. And then releasing. Coming up onto the toes. We're just shifting forward and back. So pressing the heels back and then coming forward on the toes. Pressing the heels back and shifting forward. So coming into that plank position, but using the ball as a little support here, keeping the whole long line from head all the way to the heels. So trying to keep nice and straight here, pressing the palms into the mat. We want to keep that engagement of the core the entire time. Breathing deeply. Beautiful work. I love using the ball. It's so much fun. And now we're just going to bring the feet out a little bit wider to either hip width or even mat width apart to find some balance here and stability. And then we're just lifting one hand up and the opposite foot up. And then switching to the other side. Testing the balance. So we want to make sure that the navel is pressing in towards the spine. We're staying nice and strong here so we're not collapsing down. Keeping the pelvis in a neutral position. And then if that feels good, we're going to start to lengthen the arm forward and maybe lifting the foot up a little bit higher. So alternating the arm and the leg. Lengthening out, finding some long line from fingertips all the way through to the heels. And keeping that belly button really pressing in towards the spine. Breathing as you inhale, lengthen out, exhale, lower down. Inhale, lengthening out, and exhale, lowering down. Switching sides. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, lower. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, lower. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, lower. Beautiful work, and staying here. Any little movements that feel good, maybe moving through the head and neck. Now we're going to start to lift the hips up and then start to roll the ball forward by dropping the pelvis and starting to allow the chest to open out. Shoulders are away from the ears, lifting the hips, driving those hips up towards the ceiling. And then starting to drop down into the ball as you open up the chest and start to shift forward onto the toes. Opening the chest, lifting the hips up, pressing back into the heels, breathing deeply as you open out. Inhale, exhale, driving the hips up towards the ceiling. Beautiful work. Now just coming to a kneeling position. And taking your elbows and your forearms onto the ball. We want to have the hips and the knees in line. And then from here, we're starting to just press into the forearms, press into the elbows, and we are shifting the ball forward and driving it back in towards the belly. So just imagine you're putting your full weight down into the ball, so pressing those forearms and the elbows into the ball so that you are keeping the shoulders down and away from the head. We're keeping a nice long length through the back of the neck and the spine. So there's a nice long line from the top of your head all the way to your tailbone. And you're using your core to drive the ball in towards the belly. And then lengthening out. Awesome. And then just sitting back towards the heels, allowing the arms to rest on the ball and coming to a little child's pose here to relax those shoulders down. Awesome work. Belly relax down, head softening, wiggle through the jaw. Then bringing the ball in behind you, we want to place the top of the feet onto the ball. and allowing the shoulders to be in line with the hands, with the wrists. And then we're coming to a plank position by lengthening the legs long. And from here, we're going to start to draw that ball in by lifting the hips up and drawing the ball in by using the core muscles to engage and bring that ball in towards the belly, and then lengthening back out into that plank position. So we want to really just move through the hips here and using those core muscles to lift up, keeping those legs nice and long without locking into the knees, but just letting everything be nice and stable here. Try not to rock around too much. This is super challenging, so make sure that you're breathing. Awesome work. And then we're coming down onto the back, taking your time here to find a tabletop position with the feet onto the ball. The knees are directly in line with the hips. And we want to have the feet placed onto the ball. And then we're starting to lift the hips by pressing the feet into the ball and then rolling the spine down. And the pelvis is the last to arrive down onto the mat. So we're driving those hips up, pressing the feet into the ball, and then starting to lower down with control. Awesome. Inhale as you come up, really pressing into that ball. Exhale, rolling the spine all the way down into the mat. Keeping those shoulders down and away from the head, lengthening the fingertips down towards the end of the mat. Trying to keep the ball nice and steady and stable. Breathing in, lifting up, exhale, lowering down. Amazing job. All right, staying up here, we're starting to roll the ball forward and then driving it back in by drawing the heels in towards the glutes. And just keep this going. So moving at your own pace, you might be quite quick with this, or maybe just doing a little slower moves. And then eventually I want you to take a moment here to relax. Just let the legs relax onto the ball, bringing the arms up into a comfortable position and softening those glutes down. Now we're going to take the ball between the legs. Find a nice grip here on the ball, and we're starting to squeeze in with the inner thighs, so squeezing that ball in and softly releasing out. A few pulses in and out. Keep this going, keeping the engagement of that core, squeezing in, releasing out, and squeezing in and releasing out, engaging into the pelvic floor as well. So good. Feeling all of those muscles. Good job. All right. From here, we're going to start to reach the arms up overhead. And we're going to keep the legs where they are. We're going to start to lift the ball up using the legs. And then you're going to lift the head and neck up and grab hold of the ball and reach it up and overhead, and then bring it back and place it between the legs again. So it's a full crunch up, making sure that there's a little bit of space between the chin and the chest, and you are using those core muscles to really come up here and reach back and up and reach it back. Great job. Doing so good, working all of the muscles in the body today. This is such an amazing workout. You're definitely going to see the results, feel the results from this. And take a break. Maybe a little rock from side to side. All right, so coming up to a seated position. You just want to bring the feet, the soles of the feet together, the knees out wide, coming to a butterfly position, allowing the back to relax into your support here, letting the arms come out wide, relaxing the head and neck back, allowing everything to soften down, taking a very, very deserved break. Beautiful work. Closing those knees back up and lengthening the legs out, flexing the toes back towards the face and just starting to circle the feet around, maybe moving through the toes in whatever way feels good. Finding that release through the ankles. Great job. And then we're just going to bring the soles of the feet together, and we're going to take a moment here to allow the back to be supported by your support by your Swiss ball. We're going to start to just do some little drop downs of the pelvis and driving the hips up. So you're dropping the pelvis down and you're lifting the hips up as you press into your ball here. So just keeping that little crunch, but not pulling on the neck. So we want to have the neck in line with the rest of the back, and you're driving the hips up and pressing into the heels to help you to lift the hips. So good. Make sure you're breathing. Super important. And lifting and lowering down. And lifting up, squeeze, and lower. So awesome. And release, coming down. Okay, taking a seat here. We're just going to move the ball to a little bit higher on the back, interlacing the fingertips behind the head and neck. And we're going to start to do the same thing. So we're just starting to lower down and press those hips up. So we're just driving the hips up a little bit higher, keeping everything nice and strong and stable here. Make sure you're not bringing any tension into the neck. Okay, letting the pelvis release, coming down. We're going to come back to that tabletop position. Just taking the elbows and pressing the elbows into your Swiss ball, and we are just making some little circles here. So keeping the whole pelvis nice and stable, not moving through the pelvis, just circling in one direction, pressing those elbows down into the ball so that the shoulders are away from the head, and we are circling one direction, using the core to drive this move. Staying nice and strong and stable through the powerhouse. And then we're starting to circle back the other way, making sure that you're breathing deeply in through the nose, out through the nose or out through the mouth. And circling all the way around. It can be little circles or bigger circles, just staying nice and strong and stable through the whole torso. And then just starting to come back through center. Great job. And another circle round, and then sitting back towards the heels. Taking a little stretch here. So sitting all the way down into the heels. Reaching the arms nice and long, and you can either place the hands onto the ball, or you might just release the ball and come to a regular child's pose. And then we're just going to allow the body to lay down over the ball for a little release here, and then coming up onto the knees, reaching the arms up overhead, and then stretching forward and reaching the arms up overhead. And then pressing the hips back as you lengthen the arms forward, and then driving that ball back up and coming forward. So it's just the hips moving back and then coming up, lengthening the arms up, softness through the elbows, and then reaching forward with the arms and coming back up to that high kneeling position, lengthening the ball up overhead. Awesome. Shoulders are relaxed here. And then I just want you to bring the ball up and overhead. And we're going to start to hinge out over towards the one side and then come back up and over to the other as you bump the hips in the opposite direction. So you're imagining that you're coming up and over, up and over, bumping the hips out in that opposite direction. Beautiful work. Softness into the elbows, engaging into the core, neutral spine. And then bringing the ball down to the left side and then reaching out up and over toward the left side. So the left hand is placed on the ball. We're starting to bring the right arm up and over, bumping the hips towards the right as you start to come up and over towards the left. Reaching, finding a long line, looking underneath that right armpit, opening out over towards that side. And then we're just going to switch over to the other side. So bringing the right hand onto the ball, and then we're going to find that nice neutral as we start to reach up and over towards that side. Left arm comes up and over as the right hand starts to drive the ball out towards the right. Breathing deeply, finding your flow here. So good. We're nearly done. I know you're going to feel so good today after this workout. Awesome job. Well done, you guys. Can't wait to see you for our next workout. Have an awesome day.